Guess I'll go live on the internet. Time go outsource lightning once again. I've never in all my life, and all the moss of my childhood turned to eggshell when I wasn't looking. And if you're asking me, I got one thing to say. Wasn't thinking of paying attention. Just set my feet down and started running. Kept to myself most of the time. All the while I thought of nothing. Next to nothing. Next to nothing. And if you're asking me, to say, if I can't live here, guess I'll go live on the internet. Just an auger in our past lives. Sitting idle by in a cornered being. But if you remove the need of the fence, you remove the need of the tool. Ain't no sense in keeping around something that really ain't worth keeping. Guess I'll go live on the internet.
Good time in there. Good time. As soon as I turn my mic on, the phone goes off. Love it. I love it. Alrighty. What's up, all 0 of my viewers? How y'all doing? Surprisingly enough, I'm, judging from the name of this stream, quite fucking mad as it is. People are like, well, why is that? Why are you mad, Sixto? Why are you so mad, brother? Well, is this thing on? It is. The sensitivity's way off. I think we need to turn it up a little. There we go. Still working out all the technicalities on this stupid fucking show. Well, I could really be bothered to talk about fucking politics or world events or any of that shit. This last week or two, I've really just tuned all that shit out. And I guess that is part of the focus of this show. Because, I mean, what else do people do live talk shows about? I sure as hell ain't gonna do sports talk. And other than that, it's specialized topics or it's fucking politics and world events and commentary from yours truly. Well, today's gonna be a little different because I just feel like talking about shit that pisses me off. Little mundane things that maybe piss you off too. I mean, we all have those little tics. Maybe I have more than most. So, I guess I'll start out with the fucking sprinkler thing, because this is just stupid. And I think we've all seen it, because I've seen it in many cities across the country. I've seen it on houses, I've seen it in apartment complexes, I've seen it at businesses, I've seen it on government buildings. What is with these fucking morons? You get a sprinkler, right? I've never installed sprinklers, so I don't know, but I know that you can turn them. That way it has a certain coverage area. But you got these idiots who will just have their fucking sprinklers straight out into the street. Now, when I was younger and more of a dick, whenever I saw that, I would just go snap the fucking sprinkler off, and it would just start shooting water in the air. Of course, that's when I was like 18 and didn't really give a fuck about anything, and maybe that's why some of the things that are happening to me now, maybe karma is real. I don't know. I don't think God works that way, but who knows, right? But they just point right out in the street. Now, some people will criticize it as, oh, well, you know, you're wasting water, it's bad for the environment. You know, it bothers me if I'm on a bicycle, or if I'm walking, or I'm on 2 wheels with a motor, as I happen to be most of the time. Picture in the thumbnail related there, Chinese scooters and motorcycles. We'll get to that later. But that shit just comes and hits me right in the face. I don't want your fucking reclaimed sewer water spraying all over me because you don't know how to turn your fucking sprinklers in towards your grass. And this isn't like once in a while. I see this all the fucking time. What is it? What is with you people? Everyone just wake up and say, oh, you know what? I'm going to go turn all my sprinklers out into the street. Oh, I got to water the road. It's fucking insane. So insane it makes me want to drink. Well, that's just one little thing, you know. I think we've all noticed that I'm just the type that will let something like that really fucking bother me. onto something that maybe more of us have experienced, because I think we've all experienced this issue. Now, that's the main picture in the thumbnail here. Which, by the way, I would love to buy one of those and outfit it into something else. I always liked those little Grummins. I mean, Grumman LLV. It's a long life vehicle. It's supposed to last forever. If Grumman sounds familiar, it's because Northrop Grumman, well, they make a lot of high-tech shit for the military, too. So it's no wonder that these same post trucks have been being used for, what, 30 years? 40 years? I don't know. 50 years even? Here I am saying 30 years, thinking about 1970 something. Oh, man, I'm getting old. Damn it. But it's not about the Grummans. It's about the company that owns them. It's about the United States motherfucking Postal Service. Yep, here we go. Now, we've all got something bad to say about those fuckers. This is why of the many crazy things that Trump has said he wanted to do over the years, defunding these fucks, I'm right on board with it. Who uses them anyway? Other than, when you buy something online and it doesn't give you an option. Like eBay, some eBay sellers are nice and they give you an option to select what courier you want them to use. The smart ones just go UPS or FedEx. Anyway, if it's international, they do DHL. But other than retailers forcing you to use USPS to get your fucking shit, nobody uses it. What, for sending fucking letters and snail mail? I mean, I guess. But I still think they should be fucking privatized. That way that service can be a little more reliable. Because you know how many times I used to sell on eBay? You know how many times I had to refund customers money because their fucking package didn't arrive? Why? Because I was using USPS because I didn't know any better back then. And I was a little cheap ass. Then when I started making customers pay for the shipping, and I offered every single option they could want, most people chose FedEx. Most people chose UPS. Very few went with the postal service. I had a friend of mine recently. She got a bunch of childhood things mailed to her. A phone that had pictures from the last, 10 years of her life. Her Bible from her confirmation as a kid. She was getting it mailed to her from her parents. And, well, let's just say it vanished. Disappeared into the fucking ether. Now, she told me she went to the local post office, try to figure out, hey, what can I do about this? And, well, 3 guesses as to what category of person was behind the counter at the post office. Schwoogie. COVID's getting really bad these days. So she goes in and asks, and this category, I'm just going to start calling them categories now, didn't even look up from her phone and said something along the lines of, y'all going to have to call the phone number or go online for that. I can't help you. Not even looking she told me. Is it any wonder that the USPS has gone to shit when most of the time you go in and that's what you're fucking getting? And don't get me wrong here, this isn't even a racist fucking thing. Because I'm sure there are plenty of hard-working category individuals that don't give you that. But for some reason, the federal government, and especially in this case the USPS, seems to hire explicitly the undesirable, attitude-laden, doesn't want to do their fucking job kind of them. I think most of us can agree on that, even though too many people are scared to say it these days because they don't want to lose their job. Well, I have the shield of anonymity here. I can say the truth or whatever's on my mind, and I don't have to worry about losing my fucking job. Not yet, anyway. Maybe if this show gets popular enough. Not to mention, there was a story recently about, I think it was a lady in San Francisco. I could be wrong on the city. Had, was working for the USPS. I'm sorry, I'm looking it up here. I'm actually a little distracted, but she was working for the USPS and had stolen something along the lines, was it 700 grand? Let's see, because I wasn't finding it. Maybe it's not San Francisco. Girl stealing credit cards. Yeah. Oh, what? Okay. Mary Ann Magdamit, 31-year-old former USPS letter carrier who pleaded guilty to stealing checks and credit cards from the mail. Well, the initial search results confirm she may have worked in San Francisco. Further detail confirms it was at Torrance. Okay, who cares? Accused of using the stolen funds to purchase luxury goods, take international trips, and flaunt her fucking lavish lifestyle, clout-chasing, room temperature IQ on Instagram. But what was the amount, is what I wanted to know. Well, it was 133 credit cards and 17... Why isn't this loading? I gotta have these things pulled up, but honestly, this just came to my mind when I started. There's stacks of cash, 133 cards, 16 treasury checks, unserialized Glock clone. I don't care about the gun. Yeah, the amount... I remember the original story that I saw this like a week ago or something did have the amount. I thought it was something like 70 or 700 grand. And how long do you think that was going on? To be able to take all these luxury trips, 133 cards. That must have been going on for at least 6 months. Nobody noticed? Nobody working at that regional distribution center or whatever it was fucking noticed. Oh, she's taking a lot of vacations. Oh, we're getting a lot of fucking complaints about people having credit cards and checks go missing and... No. The whole fucking thing, the whole organization is going to shit. Which is why I say defund them. I mean, I think we should defund a lot of things, but this kind of nicely transitions into the next thing I wanted to talk about, which it really doesn't, but I guess it kind of does because some people like to use the term bright to mean the exact opposite. Fucking idiot. And it's just another thing in the last couple of weeks that I've been dealing with and noticing a lot are these fucking know-it-alls. Fucking thinking that they know fucking everything. Thinking they're the smartest person in the room. Smug. They got that little smirk on while you're talking to them. I talked to a vegan not long ago that was like that. You ever notice that people that went to college and have degrees really tend to think they're better than people that didn't? And I'd say it even goes a little further than that. People that went to Ivy League schools really think they're better than people that just went to normal colleges. Yeah, that ego, man. That ego really knows no bounds. And then you talk to them. You get to talking to them, and, like, maybe they know a lot about their field, whatever they studied, right? But outside of that, it's like they're complete fucking dolts. No common sense. No knowledge of how the world works. Usually extremely fucking liberal. To a point where even normal liberals would be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, we can't do that. We can't have fucking people shitting in the streets. Oh, well, you know, they're experiencing homelessness. We need to feel bad for them. This is just an example. Just the first thing that came to my head. But the vegan I was talking to, right? He's a computer science degree. So he's got some brain power. Although, where it's all going, he put all his skill points into fucking coding and computer science. And he didn't put them anywhere else. Except his ego. Because it's like you can't even have a conversation with these fucking people. I know I'm a little retarded. I know I'm quite slow. I know my brain doesn't work all the time. But at least I can form a coherent thought. At least it's not just completely littered with technical bullshit or really big words to try to prove to myself and everyone else in the room that I got the biggest brain in here. And even the people that do that, it's like, okay, if they're actually making sense, but this fucking vegan wasn't. And I mean, vegans aren't exactly at the top of my list, but nor are they anywhere near the bottom. There's a lot worse. But this guy really brought that fucking evil out of me. I'm like, man, I wish I could just sock this fucking self-righteous cocksucker right in the face. Right in the fucking jaw. Of course, it wasn't even a topic about veganism. He just happened to be a vegan. What were we talking about? Well, what do you think? Debating the existence of God. Which I actually say I'm half good at. I may not be a super deep philosophy geek. In fact, I tend to have an aversion to those types. I gotta take these headphones off. I don't need to monitor my own fucking voice. That delay really throws off what I'm saying. It'd be nice if there was no delay. I forgot the name of that. It's some sort of acoustic illusion, something in psychoacoustics where if you put on a set of headphones and talk into a microphone and the headphones are playing it back at a slight delay. What's the name of that fucking effect? I can't remember. But yeah, it really fucks up your speech. As you're stumbling over your words and kind of pausing in the middle of a word because your brain's catching up to hearing what you're saying through the headphones. See, if I was one of these know-it-alls, I would know what that effect is and be able to explain exactly why it happens. Kind of like, I can kind of explain what a flanger is in audio. That airplane effect. I don't even have the headphones on. I'm still stumbling over my words. See, I'm not that smart. But I'm probably smarter than maybe a majority of the people listening to this. That's the scary part. Think of your average person with your average intelligence, right? And then think half the people in the world are dumber than that. Now that is some scary shit. And it also kind of plays into, again, the next topic I have here. Because I'm going to end on a slightly light note. Slightly. Is this obsession with politics that, especially in America, I'd say it's a global thing at this point, but I'll keep it in America because I'm sure most of my non-existent audience lives in America. And that's where I see it. It's just, it is beyond the pale of like a normal debate or discourse on a subject. These people live, breathe, and die politics. And I'm sure they've always been around. But it's like everyone and their fucking mother's turning into that person lately. Every time I talk to, say, my father, and he's on the opposite end of the spectrum than I am, and you can guess where I am, he has to bring up Donald Trump and how terrible Donald Trump's doing for the country. And it's like, I'm not even a big Trump fan myself, but it's like, dude, we're talking about fucking classic cars. We're talking about fucking cooking. We're talking about beer. And somehow, in the midst of that conversation, you need to talk about the economy or bring Trump into it. It's like, dude, relax. Trump's president. There's nothing you can do. It's like I would say in the last 4 years to people on the right side that are freaking out. Dude, relax. Joe Biden's in the Oval Office. There's nothing we can do. Let's try to maybe take our attention and our energy and focus it on things that we can help. Like our own lives. Like working on ourselves. Like fucking hobbies. Like talking about good beer. Or good cigars. Not this political shit. It drives me fucking nuts. To the point where I can't even listen to the shows that I usually listen to because it's all they fucking talk about. I'm at the point where I don't give a fuck what's going on in the government. Because our whole system of government is a fucking scam anyway. It's a farce. It's an illusion. The right and the left may exist in a social setting. They may exist in the population at large. But when it comes down to in the government, there is no right and left. There is no Republican and Democrat. And I'm fucking tired of hearing of it. People, there's this huge thing going on. Like, no. It's all according to their plan. Their plan. Doesn't matter who's in the fucking Oval Office. The powers that be are still the powers that be, no matter which seat, which color happens to be in the big chair for any given 4-year period. And people that don't get that, like, I can't talk to them. Maybe that's me. Maybe that's my own ego or short-temperedness at times. It's like I was one of those people for years. For about 6 years, I would say. I was one of those highly political, heavily partisan, and biased. And I really believed in, the republic or democracy, whatever you want to call it. And I loved the founding fathers, and I considered myself a libertarian. Now it's like I really see through it all. And whenever I come across someone who is that just engrossed and completely engulfed in what pretty much amounts to a half decently crafted lie, I'm not gonna say I get angry or pity them or anything, but it's just like I can't do it. I can't talk about it anymore. I can't deal with this shit. You want to talk politics? Go find someone else. Because if I say half the shit I've said to them, they're gonna call me a wild, loony, conspiracy theorist, whatever the fuck. But it's really more than just what it does to me and with these people. That is not good for your soul. To be that political, to be that obsessed with, essentially with things you have no control over. To let it have that much control over you, it's bad for you. And it's like, it goes back to what I've said in other episodes. Where are you really putting all your energy? Because the majority of your energy, if not all of it, I guess that's hard to say, but it should be focused on the truth. And politics is not the truth. Christ is the truth. If you're a Christian and you talk more about politics and individuals in government or even other fucking pundits, I've talked to Christians who speak more about Nick fucking Fuentes, who is like a cartoon character at this point, than they do about Christ. It's like, where are you really? Just something for any Christian to think about. Now let's end this on a slightly lighter note. Because I could go on about that. I could go on for hours and hours. But then I'd be really no better than the type of person I was talking about. So about these damn Chinabikes. I know, you get what you pay for. They suck. I've been dealing with these things for years. And it's always like, oh, well, it's cheap. Get yourself something. You need something to ride. And you're poor. You can't afford a Honda. You can't afford a Suzuki. You can't afford a fucking Harley or an Indian. So what do? You go online, or you go to your local fucking little import dealer who pretty much buys these things and rebadges them in a lot of cases. For instance, I think it's Hausen is the Chinese company. They make the quite popular, anyone that knows Chinabikes would have heard of the Hawk 250 by now. Fun little 250 enduro style bike. But if you see them marketed in the US under various names, the one that comes to my mind is RPS, Ricky Power Sports. They have the RPS Hawk. A few years ago I also had an RPS Viper, which is the 150 version that's not street legal. And it's like, you get them, out of the box, obviously. You change the oil, you change all the fluids, tighten all the bolts down, make sure everything is set up properly. And you start riding, you're like, yeah, this is great. But they ain't gonna last. On the dirt bikes, the scooters, whatever, you're lucky to get Anything under 250 cc's, I mean, I don't think there's too much Chinese shit that's much bigger than that, but you're lucky to get 5,000 miles out of them. And during that time, especially if you want to modify things, it's gonna get pretty fucking hairy. I'll tell you this, I have a Chinese 50cc scooter. And not too long ago, I was just going to the store on it, because, you know, beats walking. Sure beats riding a piece of shit bicycle, too. And someone came out in front of me in a parking lot. It was raining. And I went to avoid them, going about 5 miles an hour, maybe a little more. No more than 8. And I laid it down because the ground was wet. Maybe there was some oil in the road or something, but it just went out from under me as I went to turn. I was fine. I hit my fucking elbow on the ground. It didn't even break skin. But the fucking triple tree that holds the forks got bent. In order to have my wheel straight, I had to have my handlebars all the way to the right. Now, you get on a fucking dirt bike, right? Just say a Honda DR450, for example. You can crash that thing into a fucking brick wall at 30, 40 miles an hour. Chances are, I mean, you might bend your rim. That's probably it. I had another Chinese 50cc, a Tao Tao ATM 50A1. This was kind of my introduction into the whole Chinabike. Some drug addict left it at my house. This was 8 years ago now. I never came back for it, so it was just a fun little project bike. I had a similar crash on it, except I was going about 20 miles an hour, going around a curve in my neighborhood, and someone backed out of their driveway, saw me coming, looked at me, saw me coming, and instead of like pulling forward really quick, they just stopped. So I swerved to go around their car and went right into a ditch. The front end of that scooter, and it's around the same price point as the one I just told you the story about, went into that ditch. I flew over the fucking handlebars. That's how much more of an impact it was than laying it down at like 5 to 10 miles an hour. Nothing at all. Rim was fine. Triple tree was fine. Forks weren't bent. It just goes to show the whole range of quality about these fucking Chinabikes. It's very frustrating when you spend money on a vehicle and you're doing your best to take care of it, right? And then it just, something goes wrong with it. Even if you don't crash. Oh, I've had this for what? A little less than a year. I've put 1,500 miles on it. Starter's going. Ignition coil's going. Oh, why is the variator making that noise? Oh, you pull it apart, the little rollers, they're already worn down. They're stock fucking rollers. Those things should last you 5,000 miles at least. But no. They don't last you 5,000 miles. What they do is they wear out prematurely. And if you're just one of these guys that buys these fucking bikes and just rides them until they explode, you're not going to check these things. You're just going to start hearing that and be like, oh, I don't know, that must be normal. And then your clutch gets fucked up. Or maybe that transfers into your actual CVT. The gears get fucked up. Anything could happen, right? trying to think. What else? What else was I going to say about Chinabikes? Because I know there was a little more than that. I think you guys can hear that. I was looking at my mic levels while it was happening, and it sounded like you could hear it. Which brings me to my next topic. Just certain individuals, certain scumbags that you'll come across in your life. Just degenerates, inconsiderate, disrespectful pieces of garbage that the world is better off without. People that live their lives almost as if they're on autopilot. I hate to use the term because it's silly and it's very egotistical to use it, but it almost seems like they're just NPCs, and NPCs that are programmed to be as shitty as possible towards whichever player character happens to interact with them. Now, I'm not going to get too personal here, other than to say this character, this non-player character in this sense, is my neighbor. And he's been doing everything in his power to make my life a living fucking hell for the last few months. Now, the whole point of this isn't, again, to turn this into a fucking little rant, video log, journal, whatever, where I can cry about my problems. This is more of, how do you deal with these types of people? Because we all have different reactions. As far as what happened yesterday, the average person would have done anything ranging from beat the shit out of him, stab him, shoot him, or down to the very tamest, just start screaming at him and get in his face, and then call the cops in hopes he gets arrested. But all of these reactions, you know, they come from a place of ego, a place of anger. And while it was tempting, I will say that I consciously made an effort to react a little more Christ-oriented than, say, I would have 5 years ago. Maybe even more Christ-oriented than I would have 2 weeks ago. I don't know. I'm not saying turn the other fucking cheek, because you turn the other cheek and you do that shit long enough, you know, people are going to start seeing you for what you, I guess, are in that sense. Because you're not Jesus. You're just a doormat. You're just a pussy. And you're going to get treated like one. You're going to get used. People are going to do all sorts of shit knowing that you will never do anything back. And I don't mean do anything back as in do something physical. I don't even mean fighting. Anything violent, really, you know. Even the more immature people among us would say, oh, well, why don't you just take a shit into a paper bag and knock on his door and light the bag on fire, you know, something like that. No, I think there's a right and a wrong way to deal with all things. Which is really the whole point of this. When you come across these degenerates, when you come across these scumbags, when you come across these people that, like I said, really have no place in this world, they offer nothing. They give nothing. They exist only to self-gratify. They exist only to be a nuisance to everyone else, just to make themselves feel good because they have nothing else going on in their lives. They get their thrills from harming other people because their lives consist of doing drugs, having sex, watching cartoons, playing video games, nothing of any substance, right? They have absolutely no telos, no purpose. So they make their purpose to get kicks out of making other people miserable. No, I could say, yeah, let's just round them all up, put them on an island. Or, let's just, go around and, oh, here, you guys. Well, I guess that wouldn't work because innocent pot smokers would get caught up in the mix. I was going to say, give them, like, poison pot. But that's the ego. That's the anger. No, you deal with them in the right way. You tell them that they're wrong. Well, they know they're wrong. They don't care. And if they persist in what they're doing over and over again, well, you're going to think I'm going to be like a Satanist, huh? And say, destroy them. I'd love to. But you treat them with just a shred of dignity. You tell them, I wish you would go buy a gun and use it in the most unnatural way possible. At least that way you're kind of affirming that, yeah, you're here and you're making everyone around you miserable and nobody likes you, but you're still here. I'm giving you a little more than I would give, say, a cockroach. You're on par with something I scoop out of a litter box, right? Just a shred of dignity. Just to affirm the existence. Now, don't get physical unless you need to. Unless they do it first. And just really wish the best for them. Because in this situation, although I know it's not going to happen, it could. Anything's possible. I would hope that he repents of his evil ways. And that he returns to Christ. Of course he won't. Most people don't. So just, wish him well. Don't get angry at him. Only defend yourself if need be. And don't be afraid to be a little bitch, as, people would call you, and call the fucking cops. Don't be afraid to have them go spend a fucking night or two in jail. So they can go sit and think about how much of a piece of shit they are. Although they'll just go in there and probably think about how to get back at you. And then they'll come out, and then they'll keep fucking with you some more. And it'll probably end up escalating to where maybe you do have to shoot them. But at least when you do, you'll know that you exhausted every other option. Here's my thing. Someone puts their hands on me. Even if it's someone where I know I could kick their ass. I'd much rather just pull out a gun and be like, get the fuck out of my face, dude. Don't touch me. Don't fight me. You don't want to fight me. If it's too quick for anything to happen, yeah, you get into a fight, whatever, but especially if it's one of your friends. But you just pull out a fucking gun. In this case, it's a lot more justified because I'm in my fucking house, standing in my doorway when this happened. And I didn't even pull my gun out. I could have. I should have. Maybe it would have went differently. But, why not? I'm not wasting my time getting into a fist fight. Because what if you win? What if you win a little too hard? And the other person bitches out. Calls the cops. Oh, he just kicked my ass. He assaulted me. Then you're going to fucking jail. And it's true. It is not worth it. most of these people, pretty much all of them, no, all of them, anyone whose ass you're gonna kick is not worth going to jail over. And you could always, in defense, at least pull your gun out, because that's gonna stop most people in their tracks. Most people. Of course, they might pull their gun out too, and then you gotta shoot them. Who wants to shoot people? I don't want to shoot people. But I will. Now that went completely derailed, trying to be more Christ-oriented with it, and I ended talking about shooting people. Let's end on a light note, shall we? Oh, no. So, just like the sprinkler thing, we're going to end how we started. You know when you got, let's say, a 3-lane road, right? You got a left turning lane. You got a going straight lane. And you have a right turning lane. But the right turning lane is turn or go straight. Now, I can blame the drivers, but I really ultimately need to blame the fucking architects of the city, the road planners, the civil engineers. Because why would you make a turning lane where you can also go straight? Because I've been in this situation. I've been in a straight lane and seen the situation happening where there's at least 10 fucking cars sitting in that lane with their turn signals on. And one fucking dickhead in the front is just sitting there stopped. So, obviously, they stopped when the going straight, the light you're facing, turned red. So, and if they're going straight, you have to wait for the whole cycle to go through. You have to wait for the people turning left. You have to wait for the cross traffic to go. You have to wait for the cross traffic that's turning left. And then the green light. And at least where I live, some of these lights take, especially going straight traffic, will take 5 minutes on a green light. Sometimes more. I've actually timed it. I don't know if the lights are broken, if the relays and the timing circuitry is starting to wear out. I don't know how that works. But you got people that are sitting there trying to make a fucking turn. People are probably going to work or trying to make as much time as they can when they get off of work to go home. And they got to waste another, 5 minutes or more just sitting there because of you. Let's say you, the listener, are sitting there listening to the Sixto Show with your fucking windows up, completely oblivious to the fact that, oh, I'm in a turning lane. Well, there's a sidewalk on this side of my car. That means people should be turning in this lane. I'm just going to sit here. Now, usually I'm on 2 wheels, so I can just... Lane splitting is legal where I live, so I can go around them. I can circumvent the problem, and I usually give them a nice middle finger as I pass. But for all the people in cars, I feel your pain, because I've been there before myself. I probably mentioned this the last stream where I talked about roadtardation, but honestly, this one is easily at the top of the list of the most retarded, so I think it's at least worth mentioning twice. I'll even bring it up in the future. This needs to be brought up as much as possible so people stop fucking doing it. Man. I'm at an hour? I'm at an hour. Oh, man. That was fun. That was fun. Not really. Especially because I know nobody was watching. And nobody probably ever will watch. But that's fine. I do this for my own entertainment. I don't give a fuck about you audience members. I'm kidding. I love you all. All 0 of you. Alrighty. Till next time.